In today's video, we are looking at the all-new TracFone Alcatel One Touch Pop Icon. This is an all-new TracFone for the Android service. It retails for $149.99, and it is a CDMA 3G device, meaning it will be activated with either Verizon or Sprint, depending on your calling area. The specs on this are pretty good. In fact, probably the most advanced TracFone Android to date. Now it would still be considered more of an entry-level device, but the specs are fairly impressive, or actually they're quite impressive considering the low price tag on this. For starters, it comes with a 5-inch screen measured diagonally. It has a 1.2 gig quad-core processor, so it is a pretty fast device. It comes with one of the newer Android operating systems by way of Android 4.4. Now the camera, it has a front and a rear-facing unit. The main camera is a 5 megapixel unit, and as you can see there, it does come with an LED flash. And the front-facing unit is a 0.3 megapixel unit for your selfies or whatever you use those for. So that's it on the specs. Now, again, one of the main selling points on this particular phone is the size. As I said, it has a 5-inch screen measured diagonally, and we'll go ahead and measure that for you. And as you can see, we're about 4.9998 thereabouts as advertised. And the height on this thing, again, this one is fairly large. We have a 5.5-inch height by about a 2 3/4 width, and the thickness comes in at 0.38. So it is a fairly thin device, as you can see, but it is fairly wide and fairly tall. So this is by no means a compact phone. It is pretty large. Now, as far as the weight is concerned, we'll go ahead and weigh that. And it comes in at about 5.3 ounces or thereabouts. So it is a fairly lightweight phone, as you would expect on a phone at this price range. Everything is all plastic construction, including the screen. So you don't get a glass screen, you don't get the Gorilla Glass on this device. And again, it's all plastic construction. And one of the things about Alcatel devices is that they're usually designed. They usually have a real straightforward design. As you can see, there's no fancy trims on this phone. It's just basically a flat black back, which has that bit of a rubberized texture, and then on the front you have the black, kind of a satin black finish around the bezel. Now, as far as the design goes, or as far as the buttons and whatnot go, as you can see, you get the typical 3-button layout here below the screen, and of course those are flat capacitive touch buttons. And then you got the volume on the right hand side, and you also have the lock/power button right below the volume button there. Now on the top left you have your headphone jack, and on the bottom right hand corner you have your charge port. Now one thing I will mention on this phone is that it does not come with an SD card. It is capable of supporting up to 32 gigs, but you do not get one out of the box. Now, as far as functionality goes, this one is pretty straightforward again. Now, I will show one of the cool features that they kind of advertise on the box, which I'll show you. See, if you see this phone at Walmart or whatever, it says here large screen icons, and that typically you won't find on other Androids. So basically, what they've done with this phone is they've kind of targeted this phone towards a novice smartphone user, perhaps one that might be intimidated by the typical complexity of these things, or what they think might be a little bit too difficult to use. So what they've done is kind of neat for that type of person. Again, a person that's kind of been reluctant to upgrade to a smartphone for whatever reason. Maybe they think it's too hard to use. But this one comes with this thing called Simple Mode, which you basically turn on. And then if we go to the home screen, now you get kind of this type of navigation. So as you can see, the icons are all extra large, and it kind of really makes navigation simple, because now it boils it down to basically just two home screens. These are your contacts, so you can add contacts there, and then to view all of the menu items, which on the usual Android navigation would require maybe like 2 or 3 taps, so 3, maybe up to 4 taps to get through all of the navigation screens. This one has them all in one long running kind of table here. So all of the icons on the phone are now set up like this, so it makes it a whole lot easier to kind of navigate through the phone. So as far as simple mode, that's really all that there is to it. It's as easy as doing that to get it back to standard mode, and that's your typical or your usual Android layout, which functions just like any other Android phone. Now, if you're interested in that feature, one thing I will mention is that it doesn't make anything else simple. I mean, I personally think that Android is a simple operating system to get used to, but as far as the way everything else works, it works just like it would in standard mode. So that simple mode does not make texting any simpler. Not that it can be any simpler, or not that it needs to be, but everything else functions exactly the way the phone would function in standard mode. So as you can see, there's the phone dialer, there's the text messaging, and all of this again is the same as it would be in kind of standard mode. Now, another thing to mention is that the keyboard does not increase in size when you put it in that mode. The keys are pretty big because of the 5-inch screen, so this is a very easy phone to text with. The keyboard icons are fairly big. So that's about it as far as the standard stuff. Now on the extras, this one doesn't have a whole lot of extras. You do get that little flashlight, so you don't have to download it. I don't believe this one has a built-in FM stereo, or radio I should say. So everything, all the standard Android stuff is pretty regular as it would be on any other phone. Oh, actually, I'm wrong. It does have a radio, and it does require your headset to be plugged in. So you do get that little extra there. Now, and then I'll go ahead and show you just kind of YouTube and all that jazz, so you can get an idea of how it performs. Here's Google Maps. And this phone, again, being a 1.2 gig quad core, is very responsive on the maps and everything else. So as you can see, it's quite responsive there. So that works really well. Of course, you do get the Google Play Store, and you can download any app you want. It's not restricted by TracFone in any way. So you can download away both free and paid apps from the Google Play Store. And then lastly, I'll show you YouTube, because this phone has excellent sound quality, which is one of the things that I really liked about it. So here's a YouTube video. It looks great on the screen. Again, this is a 5-inch screen, but what I'm impressed about the video is the fact that the sound quality is really nice on this phone. It's very crisp and easy to hear, which a lot of Androids in this price range are not. So I think that about wraps up the review of the phone. I would say that for the price, this is a great phone. It's certainly better than the first batch of TracFone Androids that they've had. This phone is much more advanced than anything that they've had in the previous 4 models that they had, I believe is what they were. Now it does come with that simple mode, so if that's something that interests you to make your life easier when you upgrade to a smartphone, if you've never had one before, then I do recommend it for that. And again, for the price, this is an excellent phone, and you won't be disappointed by its functionality and quality.